But my name is Darcy Carlson. I'm the Professional Development Manager at Britannica. And Kim Langendorfer is right back there in the corner. She's your Education Territory Manager. And right now you do have access to Britannica School, which is our online encyclopedia, and lots more. And then you also are having access, I believe, until September or end of September, Kim? Is that what we decided?
End of September.
End of September, just checking to make sure. To ImageQuest, which is our resource of millions of rights clear images. We actually just went over the 3 million mark. And then also Original Sources, which is our database of over 420,000 eWorks. So these are going to be primary source documents. We've got secondary sources, speeches, some of the classic writings, things like that. So we'll explore all of those today. Really quickly, I know we've got a small group here, but what do you teach?
Well, I teach 5th grade, but next year we're departmentalizing, so I will have social studies.
Awesome, great. And how about you?
Media specialist in middle school.
Great, wonderful. And how many of you have used Britannica School before? The media specialist. Big surprise. Oh, that's good. Okay, well, I'm going to take you through this morning session. We're just going to look through Britannica School and kind of do the basics. I always like to start off my sessions with this question. Is Britannica School just an encyclopedia? Well, it certainly has a robust collection of articles. We've got over 140,000 articles, and that number continues to grow every single day, and I'll show you where you can actually see that. But in addition to that, you'll also find thousands of images and downloadable videos. All of our articles, images, and videos are also automatically cited, so we encourage you to use those videos. We were just talking earlier about all the different ways that you could, you're kind of having students create things and upload things online. We encourage you to do that with our videos and our content. We also have, in addition to all of our articles, student-friendly websites, journal and magazine articles from EBSCO, primary source documents within Britannica School, a smaller portion than in Original Sources, but we do have those with your search. And we do have your alignments to your standards as well. So I am going to give you this information here. This is where, if you haven't looked at your resources on hammond.k12.in.us, so your Hammond School District homepage, that actually gives you all of the resources that you have access to through your school. And you can access Britannica School from there. And I was trying to do this earlier, and it was going really slow for me. I heard that that's a thing.
Is the school code case sensitive?
It is. So if you want to jot this down really quickly, your school code is U2T6, and I'm going to explain a little bit later what that means and how you'll use that. And your username and password, username is Hammond, password is Learn, and you should only need that when you're outside of the school building. You should be authenticated through your IP in your building, but when you're at home, so both you and your students can access Britannica School at home, you'll use Hammond and Learn. And that will be the same one for your ImageQuest and your Original Sources trial. All right. So let's see if this will work for me. Oh, there's our ImageQuest and Original Sources that we'll discover in a minute. Let's jump into Britannica School. So I'm going to jump to see if this will load for me, just to show you where you can access it there. But if you can't, you can always just go to the URL here, school.eb.com, and that's going to take you right to our Britannica School page.
So I'm on the district page of my thing.
So on yours, you should see it, yep, if you look at Teaching and Learning, I believe is under, and web resources. By level or teacher? I looked at them by level and I know they were there. Sure. I think they're right at the top. Go down.
There it is.
So they put us front and center, which is great. All right, so I'm going to head back to Britannica School and open that up here. But this is where I can find access to all 3 of my levels. So we have elementary, middle, and high. It looks like we've got someone from each one of our levels here today, so we'll explore each one of them. I can actually go into each one of the home pages, and I actually recommend that you do that, especially at your, especially at the elementary level. They don't have to choose where they need to go. But at the middle and high school level, they can absolutely do a search from this page. And that's what I'm actually going to do right now. And we'll explore the home page in just a little bit. And I'm going to do a search here. We'll do some social studies here. I'm just going to do some, country just do a search on Egypt. We'll come down here to either the recommended article or recommended images, etc. Welcome. And I'm going to click on the little search icon right here. And this is going to take me to my search results page. If I had clicked on the article, it would take me directly to the article itself. But I really like this page because this gives me all of the information that we have associated with this topic. So if I come right down here, I can see all of the articles, of course. On the left-hand side of the page is where you're going to find your additional content. So just like that PowerPoint slide that I shared with you, we have thousands of images. So our images for Egypt, we've got over 123 results, so I'll be able to find those here. We'll also be able to find our video results. We've got 20 results. Our dictionary definition will pop up here. We've got, we partner with same company as Merriam-Webster, so you're going to find that dictionary definition here. You'll also find your journal and magazine content. So again, this is going to be provided by EBSCO. It's not a separate subscription, it's included. And the PDF version will give you oftentimes a scanned copy. So it's going to give you those nice images that go along with it. Yes, sir.
So, are we allowed to ask questions?
Absolutely.
So you're showing Egypt, right?
I am.
If I'm teaching world history, what I want from Egypt is going to be different than if I'm teaching current events.
Right.
So how do we refine,
You
refine
can,
by
absolutely.
like time or?
We do. You know, we don't have anything for time right now, but we do, like for example, if you wanted to look up ancient Egypt. Oops. With a space. That's going to take you directly to those results here. So you'll be able to do it by keyword.
What about present day Egypt, or whatever you want?
That would probably just be in the Egypt article itself. And again, we update our articles every single day. They're updating articles, but it won't necessarily be current event kinds of things.
So, but what if you search Mubarak or something like that? Would somebody come up with that or no?
That depends. You have to kind of just, click around. And in the high school level, we typically have more articles. Well, we always have more articles in the high school level than in middle or elementary. So if you were in middle or elementary, you can always go up to see if there's content that might be something that you can look at.
Okay. But you can throw words like ancient.
Yeah, absolutely. Up at the top, it doesn't work quite like Google the searching, but you'll kind of get used to it. You know, I always say, if you were looking it up in a print encyclopedia, how would you look it up? So if you were looking up ancient Egypt, you would put in ancient Egypt. So you wouldn't put in, sometimes you would try to. Yeah. One of my favorite things with our new interface with Britannica School is that you can adjust your reading level from every single page. So for example, if I'm a middle school student, level 2, and I want to access my elementary level content, maybe I'm reading at a 3rd or a 4th grade level, what I can easily do is click on level 1. And that's going to take me to my elementary level articles. Same thing would happen if I were a middle school student and I wanted to read above reading level. Maybe my teacher has asked for me to get some more rigorous content. I'm going to click right here on level 3, and that takes me again to my high school level content. So this works across the resource, so a high school student who's reading at a middle school or an elementary level can actually access their reading level appropriate articles while staying in the age appropriate interface. I'm still a middle schooler, I still get to stay there. I don't have to go to that really maybe more primary looking elementary page. All right, I'm going to head back here to level 2. And we're going to go into the article. Actually, before we do that, I always forget this, it's a newer feature. Right down here at the bottom, you do have your Lexile filtering, so I can filter by Lexile. So once I do that, if you are looking at your Lexile, I can see it right next to the article itself. And then I can also adjust my filter from here. So if I want to stay in a certain Lexile range, I can. So I'm going to click back here and then take us right into the article on ancient Egypt. So I'm going to click right here. All right, so a few things I wanted to point out within the article itself. One of them is at the very top of the page, you've got all of your tools that you can use throughout the text. The first one is the ability to favorite or save an article to your own personal account. We're going to to be creating accounts for this, hopefully at the end of the session today, and I'll be demonstrating what that looks like. I can also print this out. I can email this to myself or someone else. I mentioned that we have the automatic citations. That's where you'll find them. So I can click here on Cite. And so when students are citing their information, they can choose their style. So MLA, APA, Harvard, or Chicago Manual style is citation styles that we have. And they can copy and paste this right into their works cited, the page, however they want to use it. Next to the citation, you also have the Translate tool. This is done by Google Translate, and it allows you to translate this into over 80 languages. So you can translate the article if you'd like to. And then some additional reading support tools. I do have the ability to have this read aloud to me. I don't have my computer speaker set up here, but it's reading the article, and then of course it's highlighting the text as it reads through as well. Alright, so I'm also going to take a look at this tool here, the font up and font down. That just increases or decreases the font. So great for those kids, of course, who need that larger text or prefer it. Also a nice tool if you are doing whole group instruction and you want your kids to be able to see it in the back of the group, that text. A little bit easier to see that text. Right here in the center of the page, you'll see your article reading level. And I think this is actually where it's a little bit more useful for students. Once they come into the text and maybe the vocabulary is a little overwhelming or the concept is new for them and they need to access a lower reading level, kind of get that Cliff's Notes version, I can click right here on reading level 1, and this takes me into my elementary level text. But again, I'm still staying in that middle school environment, so it keeps it really appropriate, really easily helping to differentiate that content for the students. I'm going to pop up to level 2 here and just point out these tabs up at the top. We've got our images and videos. So again, you can take a look at those. I'm just going to pop into a video here. Just as an example to show you, again, all of our videos you can cite, so there's that citation tool. And then you can download all of our videos. So what's great about this is that if your students wanted to embed them into a PowerPoint presentation or upload them online to their own project that they're working on or their own website, they can do that. They can use our content however they like. All that we ask is that you cite that material. And then we do have the narration down here at the bottom of the text. And the image is the same thing. That's nice and loud. I need one of those speakers. I can cite this. I can download this image. I can print it out.
Email it to people.
And you can email it to people.
So if the student misses class, want to listen to the video we watched, watch it.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you an even better way to share that information with students.
Excuse me.
In just a little bit. Yeah.
You talking just a minute ago, the article up or down, is it the same article or is it a different article on the same topic?
It's a different article on the same
Okay,
topic.
so it's
It's a
not
great
the
question. So
article
it's the article
up or
in the
down.
elementary level, the middle school level, and the high school
Different
level.
articles.
So it's going to be different articles. So the content might not be as much because it's going to be shorter. So that's a really good question. So you can't ask the same questions with it or
Right.
something. Some of the content's the same, but yeah, you get the idea. All right, the next tab here is related. So the related tab allows you to just see the related people, places, and things associated with the topic. So this is a nice way for kids, if they are following those trails of inquiry, developing those questions when they're doing research, to find kind of trails to follow. So I can come down here and read about the 7 wonders of the world, for example, because that's related. I'm also going to find links to my primary sources and my best sites from here. And then the teacher tab, which is right over here, is going to allow you to look at your Lexile measure. So I'm going to find that here. And then this is where I'm going to find my correlations to my state standards. So I'm going to click right here on US. We'll go to Indiana. I'll be able to choose my subject. So for this particular article, we have both language arts and social studies standards associated with this. I'll click on social studies, and from here I'll be able to choose a grade level. So I'm going to choose 10th grade. Click view results, and that's going to take me to my standards that are associated with this article. So I can copy and paste those into a lesson plan if I want to, or however I want to use them. Back at the article, there's one last thing that I want to point out, and that is something called the Quick Click Dictionary. dictionary. And this was created so that if a student is reading through the text and they come across a word that they don't know or they're unfamiliar with, they can just double click on the word and the definition will pop up for them in a separate window. So I'm going to pop down here. Oh, let's see if I can find it. Oh, even if we do ancient, if I want to see what that word means. I'm just double clicking on the word and I'm going to find the definition of this from Merriam-Webster. I'll also find the pronunciation of the word, so if I want this read aloud to me, I can click here. And then I'll find the Spanish translation of the word as well. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like one of the words that's highlighted in blue or anything?
Exactly. In fact, if you click on the highlighted word, that's going to take you to the article on that thing. So if I want to click out here on the highlighted word, that's going to take me to Egypt. So if I try to double click there, it's going to take you to this anyways. But if any word within it, so civilization, I can double click on, and that's going to give me that definition. All right, what I'm going to do right now, we've only got 10 more minutes. What I want to do really quickly is just show you the home pages. I just clicked right here on middle, and that takes you to our different home pages. So we've got the elementary, the middle, and the high. And this is where you're going to be able to discover different features that will allow students to gain access to our content in different ways. Because we didn't want to just give them a search box, because that's going to only allow them to search terms that they already knew about. So we wanted to give them kind of those avenues to follow. And so we've got lots of different kinds of leading questions to get them into our content. We also have a really great world atlas, so this would be great for all of your social studies teachers. Compare countries tool is really great. You can compare two countries' statistics side by side. So let's do that. I got an ooze in the audience here, so I'm going to stick with Egypt today just because why not? And I can compare that to any other country. So I always start with my young students when I taught the United States because that allows them to make that comparison, but of course whatever two countries and they just get that side-by-side comparison of that statistical information. Like the life expectancy at birth, the literacy percentage of age 15 and over for both male and female, so lots of really interesting things, and then kind of those general things too, like their government, their language if there is one, monetary unit, things like that. I'm sorry?
The government of Egypt.
Yeah.
Interim.
At the elementary level, do we have any more elementary besides 5th grade here? Are you guys younger elementary?
Kindergarten.
Oh my goodness, then I have to show this. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and show you the elementary level. I'm not going to take us into the Britannica Learning Zone today, but that's our pre-K through 2nd grade resource. So go in there and really explore. But the one I will share with you is Geography Explorer. This is really cute, and even your 5th graders might like this. Click here, play game. It's too bad we can't get the audio. Let's see if I can turn it up a little bit more.
Where to go?
There we go.
Come on then, let's go.
So this is a great place to just introduce students to their continents.
Cloud to the continent you think it belongs to.
So this is Jog here, who's going off on holiday, and he's trying to decide where to go. So I can take this and drag it to any continent.
Well done.
Tells me good job. Continue on.
Nice one.
All right, I'm going to get one wrong.
Oops. Try again.
Try again.
It's shaped like an ice cream cone.
He gives me a little hint.
Oh dear. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Many colors within for me. So cute. And the kids love them. And it's really great because it's nice for repetition too for your young guys. They can do that. And after the color in their wicked. This was originally a British product.
Yeah, he was on holiday.
Yeah, he's on holiday and he says wicked and brilliant. Well, he's also a little French there. But we can move on to our oceans and seas, then we do the mountain ranges, and then the rivers, major rivers, and then we do points of interest. So pretty cool, even maybe for your high school kids, you never know.
Oh, some of them might be.
Yeah, absolutely.
American geography is terrible.
Good work.
And the general rule.
But yeah, you elementary people, check out, especially kindergarten, check out that Britannica Learning Zone. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I can show it to you at the end of the session too. If you would like. And I do want to show that high school level. It's very similar to the middle school level, a lot of the same features, a lot of different things that will just interest students in getting to new places, explore biographies. It's a nice place to go to dial things down. I did want to point this out over here. I mentioned before that we're continually updating our content, and we work really hard to do that. We have a team of over 100 editors on staff in Chicago. That's where we're located. And you can see just on today's date, we've already updated 4 new articles and pushed that through. So we always let you know what's been updated within here. You can see on June 4th, we updated Muhammad Ali's article. So you can see there are current things in there, but it might not be where you go necessarily specifically for current events. But we do have our news from the New York Times down here. So we do have that daily news feed from them. All right. I've got 5 more minutes. Oh no, I've got 10 more minutes. Yes. All right, so in that time, what I'm going to do is talk about My Britannica. And this is a place on Britannica School that is just yours. It's a spot where you can collect your favorite articles, images, videos, primary source documents, whatever you want. Both you and your students can create these accounts. Probably not your kindergartners, but certainly you can use this with them if you want to give them access to content that you'd like them to view. And so I'm going to do a little search here, or excuse me, I'm going to log in to my account. And I'm going to show you the steps to log in just a minute. I just wanted to demo this for you first. At the top of the page, you have both My Content and the Lesson Plan Browse. If you are a student logging in, there's 2 levels to an account. You would only have your My Content link. So I'm first going to show you what both you and your students have access to. So here is a link to My Content. What I'm going to find here are all of my favorite articles, images, videos, etc. I can click down here, for example, on wind power. Let's look at that one. And it looks like I have an article here and a video that I've collected. And I've given some instructions to my students because I plan on sharing this with them. So I have, for my article here, I have developed both thick and thin questions. That's something maybe we were working on using the question stems. And then I can add in a note here, maybe I want them to watch this video. If I were a student using this account, this might be a place where they're going to be taking notes on the content or saying, maybe I'm going to use this for my PowerPoint or whatever I'm going to be using it for. To add anything to our resource pack, it's really easy to do. I can see that this has actually been added already because I can see that little star has been folded or colored in. But if I wanted to add this full picture, I'm just going to click the favorite. So anytime I click that star, I'll be able to select the resource pack that I've already created. So I'm going to put that into wind power. And then I'll go back up to my content and go down to my resource pack. And that's where I'm going to find my content here. So the resource packs are kind of like our own online file folder. The file cabinet is the My Britannica. That's where I'm putting all of my favorite things. And then this is how I'm going to organize it. So I said that I wanted to share this with my students. To do that, what I can do is up at the top of the page, I can click Share Pack. And this is really cool. I can click right here. And this gives me a unique link just for me. So this link is created by Britannica. And it gives you your resource pack. So I'm just copying and pasting this link. So if you use Google Classroom or just on your own webpage, if you want to email it out, just share that link with the students, and they're going to get a page that looks like this. So they'll find the image, they've got the article, they've also got the instructions in here. So develop both thick and thin questions using the question stems, etc. And I've actually added a document to this because we just recently allowed you to add your own documents. So if you want to upload your own PDF documents, or there's a whole bunch of different kinds that you can put up there, I have this thin versus thick question stems. That's what I'm asking my students to do in this particular example. So I'm going to come back here to my content and just show you really quickly how you can add something from outside. All you'll need to do is click Edit or Add Content. I'm going to pop down to the bottom, and then I can upload my document from here. And this gives you an idea of the kinds of documents that they will allow. So I could upload a graphic organizer, or if I wanted to have a template for them to use, or maybe an assessment rubric or something like that, I can do that. So I am going to log out, and I'm going to take you through the steps in creating your account. Oh, that popped up there. Hi. Paparazzi, they're always here.
The past follow.
Yeah. All right. So to sign up, you're just going to go through these steps here. So I'm going to click sign up, and in that your little handout here, you do have step-by-step directions starting on page 3. So they're pretty simple. This is where that school code is going to come into play. So the one I showed at the beginning, which I'll put up on the board again for those who came up in a little bit later. But you want to create a username and a password, so that can be any username and any password that you like. So that's not going to be the username and password that I put on the PowerPoint. This is unique to you. You retype that password in, and as a student, if I were a student creating an account, I would be done. I would just be able to come down here and click OK. But educators were requiring an email address from you and your school code, and that's going to give you access to our lesson plan browse and builder, which if we have time, we'll show that at the end. But let me show you the, whoops. Oh shoot, okay.
Now, how did you get to that page where you created it, if you don't mind?
Sure. Let me put this up there for you again. I'm sorry. For those of you who came in a little bit late, your school code is U2T6. Your username is Hammond, and your password is Lauren. Not to confuse you, these won't be the username and password you use for My Britannica. These you'll use if you are outside of the school building. It's going to ask you to log into your account just to get into Britannica school.
But the code is the code everybody uses?
The school code, yeah, so all educators. So don't give that to your students, they won't need it. And I'm going to come around and help you with that My Britannica in just a little bit right after the session. But I do want to talk about the 2 other resources that you do have access to, and I believe resource packs too, so we'll do that too. But you do have ImageQuest and original sources through September. So utilize these, take advantage of it. ImageQuest is our resource of over 3 million rights cleared images. So I am going to come back to that for those of you who want me to. I can come around to your computers in just a little bit. But if you come up here to the top of the page, you should find, oh, did you just get that in there? You will find Britannica resources. You'll have resource packs and ImageQuest. So first we'll go into ImageQuest, and I apologize, I'm doing this kind of at the last minute here, but ImageQuest doesn't need a lot of training. All you need to do is do a search. And we've got over 7,000 images on Coral Reef. So we partner with some of the best collections in the world. We have Getty Images, National Geographic Society, Oxford Scientific. You can see all of our collections here, and that's why we're able to have 3 million. And what's great is that you have you can use them however you'd like. The rights cleared. So as long as you're not selling anything that you're making with them, we encourage you to use them. So you can see all of those here. Pull it up. We've got the same citation tool. Right down here, we also have a My Images, just like My Britannica, where you can save and create images. And I know I went there very fast. Everyone's kind of looking down at the computers like, how did she get there? Let me show that to you again. I just clicked right up here at your logo for Britannica School. That always takes me back to this home page. And then at the very top, you should find a link that says Your Britannica Resources. And you can pop down to ImageQuest or Resource Packs. Let's go into Resource Packs. And this is basically, we already talked about resource packs, right? When we were in My Britannica, you can create your own resource packs. This is editor-created resource packs. So our editorial department went through and pulled out content, so you guys don't have to do the work yourselves, basically. It's a really good time saver, great for students and for educators to have access to. But for example, if we went to 9 through 12, I can come into here, I can see the different categories. So maybe we're going to be learning about, oh, I don't know, World War II has a lot of stuff under it. We'll go into just the 1940s. And this is not all of the content that we have on the 1940s, but what they've done is pulled out the most useful things that are kind of those jumping off and starting off points. So we've got an article, we've got a video, we've got, of course, text, we've got primary source documents in here. Sometimes we've got a little note from our editors explaining why that's in there. So we've got all this great stuff, and what I can do is email this pack, I can share it with that unique link, or, because you're Britannica School subscribers, you can save and customize your own. So what you would do is log back into that My Britannica account that I just took you through the steps in saving, and you can actually save it within Britannica School and then add in content and use it however you want. So use that through September. Is that right, Kim? This one through
Yes,
September?
the end of September, yes.
End of September, as much as you'd like.
Download as much as possible for you. Like if you, so you can't, so when it says save and customize your own,
Yes.
if I save it, but I can only access what I saved through September too.
Well, you have access to all of this content through Britannica School.
Just
This
the
is
resource, yeah.
This is just, they've just kind of vetted, or not vetted it for you.
Put it together.
Exactly.
Did the legwork.
You did the legwork for you, so it was
Got it,
really
got
nice.
it.
Yeah. Just like, hey, I'm working on this right now. You can search it too, so you don't have to just go through that. I can do a search on whatever term, whatever I'm studying, do it by 9 through 12, look at categories. So this is our brand new product, and we're really excited about it. But our other product, my goodness, and you'll want to write down this URL. For some reason, we don't have it linked to our homepage for Britannica School, but it's sources.eb.com. And this gives you primary source documents over 420,000. So primary source documents, eWork, secondary sources, lots of great stuff. So especially for middle and high school, of course 5th grade too probably, we're going to get into some of that primary source work, but you can filter by this. I can search by date, by subject. I have a couple written down, good ones for examples, but let's do, for example, let's do it even with the atomic bomb. We just do a search here, and that's going to give me all of my results. So I can go to Einstein's atomic bomb proposal, and that gives me that full text. I can also look at a summary, print it, make this a PDF, or I can download this to a reader if I have a reader on my device, email this, and then of course go to the pages. What's great about these is all 420,000 of the titles has, oh my goodness, it's a show citation information. Okay, oh that's new, they changed it. But then they have all of the citations here too, which is really important for your primary sources. It's hard to find, so we're excited to have that. And I'm way over my time here, so I'm going to put my information up here again. I'm going to put that URL back on the page here. So if you wanted to access that original sources, it's again at sources.eb.com, and that Hammond and Learn password, username and password will work for this. I'm going to put my information and Kim's information up on the board. Kim, are you looking to see if I spelled your name right?
I am actually.
I do that very often. I was trying to sound it out.
I did give everyone my card, so if
Awesome.
like after this somebody feels like, oh, you know what, I need to talk to somebody for a few minutes to just kind of hash things out, feel free to email me or call me or whatever. I'm happy to do that.
Yes.